Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. I am Pasta
And I'm
Jardula.
Fiorella.
And Johnny Sue is still spinning on those ones and twos. That's what it's like, man. That's the Technique 1200. It has a lot of power.
Fam, you're lame.
So you can pull back the record when record has like a little foamy disc underneath. What's that disc called? The let you slide? He doesn't know.
He doesn't know. He's from this century, not the last one, fam.
All right, fam. We want to thank you all for jumping on in. Propaganda, where you been? Karen M, always waiting. Michael Cruz, learn MMT. I saw something yesterday where somebody kind of questioned, does the MMT theory even come into play nowadays with this particular pandemic?
I mean, it does come into play for the corporate elite. Obviously, they just invent money out of nowhere to help them out.
Yeah.
But when it comes to us, it just doesn't exist. The problem isn't MMT. The problem is who's in control of the money, and that's obviously what we have to focus on now.
Yeah, well, Johnny is kind of diving into what the Fed, big banks, the Treasury Department, all that stuff. It's a cluster screw up in your head when you start paying attention to it, because it's a lot of mathematics and a lot of that theory is a theory. So and it's a good theory to pay attention to understand and learn.
It makes more sense than regular.
But let me tell you something.
Theory.
Congressmen on the floor are picking up to it, because one congressman, you know how they always use that talking points where it's like, what are we going to do? Borrow more money from China? Mm-hmm. So he said, we're going to borrow more money from China? Or are we just going to print more of our money and devalue our currency? So they're even paying attention to MMT on the Republican side on the floor now. They threw a little bit of that in there and stuff. But we have some stuff to talk about right now. The coronavirus breaking news. It's a hoax. Just kidding.
Stop.
So
I'm going to call you Alex Jones.
Call me Craig Jones. But Donald Trump, right? We got some mega ships, medical ships from the Navy that have been kind of sent in play. Now, these particular ships are not supposed to take care of coronavirus patients. They're supposed to take care of the other patients. So the overflow, those people aren't. In other words, coronavirus patients won't go onto these giant ships that are now hospitals. Okay. These are people who have other issues that are normally taken care of at our hospitals, but are now overrun or overdue or what's the word? Overconsumed because of the coronavirus. So now we have these two big ships put into play, and they're massive, giant ships. Here's Donald Trump and his hair. Johnny, you want to break some of this down?
Yeah, so we're just going to go through a couple. I watched the whole thing, and I got the best parts out of it. So that's what we're going to watch, and we're going to go through that.
Part 1. Which one is it? I can read it if you need me. 448. So he's going to announce the USS Comfort will embark to New York. So he's in Virginia now, Norfolk, Virginia, where the port is, and they're going to send it off. So it should be getting there soon to Mr. Cuomo.
3 days ago.
Should be now.
In a few moments, the crew of the Navy hospital ship USNS Comfort, which is really something, will embark for New York City, where they will join the ranks of tens of thousands of amazing doctors, nurses, and medical professionals who are battling to save American lives. This great ship behind me is a 70,000-ton message of hope and solidarity to the incredible people of New York, a place I know very well, a place I love.
He's always running for office, Johnny. A place I know well, a place I love. Always running. This guy's always campaigning. What's the next one? 556?
The Comfort will arrive at Pier 90 in Manhattan on Monday, 3 weeks ahead of schedule. Its crew will begin treating patients on Tuesday. It will be met in New York Harbor by Governor Cuomo, who I just spoke with. He's very excited, and they need the help. The skilled
Johnny,
sailors and civilian.
You mentioned that they're, once again, he said 3 weeks ahead of schedule. Wait a second. What does that mean? So, later on, I think when we get into, we hear words like surge. Like you said, they're kind of implying that we're going to get hit heavy and we're going to get hit hard, and it's coming.
The next clip is when Governor Newsom welcomes the Mercy to the L.A. port. And, basically the whole thing is that they're their models are predicting that will be like Italy in like 6 days or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
So here's the thing that it's not them, it's the doctors, because we are literally still at the beginning stages. And if you follow the map of the graph, the curve, we still haven't hit that part where we're gonna get the most. And in fact, a lot of activists on the ground right now that I'm talking to are prepping. There's a call tonight because we're prepping for the brunt. It's like a storm. We're prepping for the brunt of the storm, the eye of the hurricane, to pretty much come over here. Because if you think about it, we are behind New York, right? Like, this is such a big pandemic. New York got hit first, and different states are getting hit at different times. I think we're going to see a lot of the South surge a little bit later too, because they kind of didn't take the precautions at all. I know for a fact Florida isn't really taking a lot of the precautions. I know Louisiana is surging really, really quickly in the cases that they have. So I think it's difficult for our country, because we're such a big country with different protocols for each state, that we're going to be seeing the massive hits in different times. But overall, like for California and New York, the worst hasn't even happened yet. But we're seeing New York isn't as bad as it was before. We're finally seeing the cases in Italy, the new cases, start to decrease. So that means that we're right behind them.
Wait, it's just so crazy, because everything that's going on right now, you got to think about it. Like the whole civil liberties thing about now, because of the extension of the Patriot Act, they can spy on anything. So I'm thinking, I'm taking a phone call and I'm listening to strategy. It's legal for them to be listening to that right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what if they cause this man-made shit like crazy? Like we said, was the virus man-made, cared or not?
That
kind
is
of inject
up to be
this
determined,
so they can,
for sure.
I
don't put it past our government or a different government to cause a virus. I mean, that's totally plausible.
There's a lot of proof that it's man-made.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate to get all Craig Jones here, but
you're always Craig Jones. It's a
but
libertarian.
I'm not like this. But right now, we can't, like you can't get together. We can't get in a room and speak. We can't organize to protest. Now everything's done over communications. Well, they got the keys to the kingdom, and they can legally look at everything they want.
They can. Progressives have ways around what we know is
during a virus, fam.
Well,
this is virgin territory.
No, but we have ways of organizing around the typical channels that they can infiltrate. There are other sites that you can organize. The can
with the string?
No,
we're gonna chalk and put our plans on
they don't
the chalk.
They don't have access.
Like
clearly, you guys don't.
Pigeons.
You guys aren't involved in these organizing things, but there are other mechanisms you can use online that aren't as easy to infiltrate.
The WhatsApp thing. I remember people saying it wasn't as encrypted.
It's WhatsApp.
It is now.
It is now, but that's not what we use.
It's not encrypted. But it's not secure.
That's not what we use.
And the whole thing is that there's nothing that's really, truly ever secure. You even look at blockchain, and that's like kind of moving around to keep people off balance. But, with the keys to the kingdom, they got everything. They can listen to everything. They can do everything. They got mechanisms to hear our voices. So, I mean, I know what you're saying, but right now, at a time of a pandemic, it's something serious we got to think about. They're listening to everything right now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, you're not going to get people to pay attention to the Patriot Act stuff as much as they should, because they're too busy trying to not die and
it's nuanced.
Trying not to get kicked out of their houses and, etc. Yeah. Again, it's the same argument over and over again. Until you give people security on their basic things, they're never going to look at something like foreign policy or something like the Patriot Act and their rights, unfortunately.
Yeah, rights.
So here in this next one, he says that this ship, the Comfort, is only going to treat people who are not sick.
Importantly, by treating non-infected patients remotely on the ship, it will help to halt very strongly the transmission of the virus. The Comfort sister ship on the West Coast, the USNS Mercy, arrived ahead of schedule substantially in port yesterday. Governor Gavin Newsom was very thankful for it. They're working very hard in California. It's performing a similar mission for the people of Los Angeles and the people of California. As the USNS Comfort gets underway, it is fully loaded with 12 operating rooms, and they are fully equipped. 1,000 hospital beds, a medical laboratory, a pharmacy, an optometry lab, digital radiology, a CAT scan, 2 oxygen-producing plants, and a helicopter deck, which will be used very actively. It also bears our military's greatest weapon of all, a crew of nearly 1,200 outstanding members of the United States Navy, and I thank them very much.
So you hear the specs of the ship. It's going to have 1,000 beds, 1,000 people, helicopter pad.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting things, because I haven't seen. Have you guys ever seen a ship like that?
I was in the United States Navy and I never saw that ship, Johnny. So I mean that that right there is not the actual. You can only see a piece of it, right? It's friggin' huge. This ship.
Let me pull up a picture.
And I believe you said, Johnny, now that that's here, it's now the biggest hospital.
Yeah, in the next clip, Gavin Newsom, Garcetti says that now that the ship has arrived, it is now the biggest hospital in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show him a big picture. This thing is next to, I think the fourth one in would really too. The one with next to the buildings from my show. Wow. Look at the size of that thing. You can see, like, guys, look at the little small tugboats around there and stuff. Yeah. It is huge.
So I'm pretty sure after the show, I'm going to go down and see the Mercy. This is the Comfort that's going to go into New York. It looks like it already arrived, actually. Let me see this. Hold on real quick.
It's supposed to arrive today.
Arrives Javits to open as temp hospital.
Because it's what? It's 5 o'clock over there.
Yeah.
There it is, the Jacob Javits Center. I think, doesn't Miami have a Jacob Javits Center too?
I'm not sure.
I think it does. I think Miami has I think I saw Bernie at the Jacob Javits Center in Florida. I think there's several Jacob Javits Centers.
Pier 90, yep. West side of Manhattan, and another 1,000 beds. Okay, so the next one, let me see.
By the way, some people have been making comments that they said that Donald Trump was behind getting started with this thing, but they said that some people have admired the fact that he's gone on TV every single day and that he's owned it. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm kind of like, it's one of those things, you know how I am, fam. When you go and you face the media on a regular basis and it's just open media and you know half of them are attacking you, I have some respect for you for doing that. I definitely think the United States got a late start on this shit. There's no denying that.
No, yeah,
they were behind. Even myself.
That's why we're number one. We're the worst.
Yeah, I mean, even myself.
But also, I mean, Donald Trump is campaigning already. He knows that he has to face the nation, and Joe Biden is hiding, and he won't even debate Bernie.
Yeah.
So it's just a contrast that again puts Donald Trump in the advantage versus somebody like a Joe Biden. That's why Bernie Sanders has been the one that's been on camera pretty much addressing everything that he can. And that is a good strategy during this crisis, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick, just going to wrap up this video. Here's another one where, just listen to it. Whoops.
This week I invoked the Defense Production Act to compel General Motors to carry out federal contracts for ventilators, and I think they're going to do a great job. I have to say that. We're also working with the major ventilator companies in the United States, all big-name companies, all companies that do ventilators, so they won't need extra time, and they're gearing up, and they'll be working 24 hours around the clock, and they have been. They've been doing a fantastic job to accomplish a historic ramp-up, and a ramp-up in the kind of numbers that we're talking about. And if we make too many, that's going to be okay, because I spoke with the Prime Minister of the UK yesterday, Boris Johnson. He tested, as you know, positive. And before I even was able to get a word out of him, he said, I said, how are you doing? He said, we need ventilators. The UK needs ventilators. A lot of countries need ventilators badly. It's a tough thing to make. It's a very complicated and expensive piece of equipment. I would say more so than a car. You're talking about expensive, complicated equipment. So I hope we soon will have enough that we can help other countries with ventilators. A lot of countries need them. In the next 100 days, America will make or acquire 3 times more ventilators than we do in an entire year. We are so geared up at both.
I would like to talk about that too. We have a couple super chats, but I'd like to talk about
he used
this.
the Defense Production Act, which is what Bernie said to use.
Yeah.
Could I tell you something? It was a mechanism used on the floor the House meeting, about 8 or 9 Democrats mentioned it throughout the speech. You know what I'm saying? They talked about that stuff. But this is a situation. Why are we working from behind? Why are we working from behind? I mean, this is where the Democrats are right, where they attacked Donald Trump and said, hey, man, you waited too long to enact this law. You should have been ahead of this. We should have had ventilators in the sandbag. We're the United States of America. We should have saw this thing coming. We would have had ventilators on deck. We could have helped the world out. This is the area where I would have liked to seen us lead.
Yeah, but
our
the
leadership wasn't there.
The Democrats didn't say anything until Bernie
They were
Sanders
behind
said
it too.
something.
Yeah.
Like, he's the one that was like, we should do that because guess what? FDR did it when we were for World War II. He absolutely did it. And it's, again, he framed it as we're facing a different kind of enemy instead of war. It's a disease. And that's the smartest thing to do. It's a way to give people jobs and also continue the economy in a certain way and save lives at this point.
But they were all, let's be honest, everybody was late on this. Like, it's great. It's one thing to call it now, but it's Monday morning quarterbacking. They were behind on it. The Democrats were too. And I even said the same thing, fam. When Tulsi was talking about this, I'm like, why the hell is she even talking about this? I had this attitude of a virus is a virus. It's going to get us no matter what. I saw War of the Worlds. We can't run away from it, right? That was my feeling. I didn't want to talk about it. I want to listen. I ignored Jackson Facts. I ignored Jason Burmis. I ignored Steve Poikonen. I didn't want to hear all the bullshit.
Tulsi.
I ignored Tulsi. I was like, whatever. It's you know what I'm saying? But now, in hindsight, I wish I'd paid more attention to him. And I think a lot of people should have paid more attention to Tulsi when she was calling about the test and the ventilators.
Because before, SARS and MERS only pretty much affected Asia for the most part. It didn't really make its way here. And those are type of coronavirus, those two, SARS and MERS. So that's why people were like, we'll probably be fine here. Yeah. And that's the American fallacy, where we just think like we're immune to everything. And now we're dealing with something that even we couldn't have predicted. So
Danny O'Brien says on Facebook, COVID-19 general strike against genocidal negligence. General strike, don't go back to work until the demands are met. Rare opportunity. Danny, I wish we had Democrats fighting for some good shit for us in that house. They're not fighting for nothing. We didn't get crap out of this thing. All they did was harp on the little pieces of crumbs we got. We don't have representation there. You know what I'm saying? There's a few people who
just
give
don't
us
have
real
enough,
representation,
and so they don't fight back.
Like I said, when it came to it after this situation, to me, AOC led better than anybody in the whole pack when it came to this particular situation. Now we don't know what her vote is because it was a voice vote, fam. But like I said, I thought she was the one kicking and screaming every step of the way, trying to get involved with some bills. I'm not a big fan of AOC. In fact, a couple months ago, I was like, I'm done with her. But even her time on the floor was so different than all the House members. And they're all united on the same page. They're all united to give the military-industrial complex the money they want and the corporations the money they want, because none of them mentioned all the money and were in for that group right there. All they did was mention the little crumbs that they were giving you and saying help is on the way. We're not Republicans and Democrats today, fam. We're Americans, and we can defeat the coronavirus by giving corporations money. Get the fuck out of here. Can I read this last one before the super chat? Because it's Bella Lou. Bella Lou. Thank you for your super chat contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. Fiorella loves when I do it. Bernie left us at the altar. Boo-hoo. Let's focus on solidarity, not pay COVID medical bills. To not pay COVID medical bills. Let's focus on solidarity so we don't have to pay those COVID medical bills. Let's get Medicare for all out of this pandemic.
Yeah. And the thing is, Donald Trump would sign Medicare for all. But again, his buddies in the Senate won't do it. So he's just not fighting for it enough. If he were smart, he did that. Are you kidding me? He'd win right now. No, like without any, he would be revered as the most one of the most successful presidents that gave everybody Medicare for all. If I were Donald Trump, I would do it.
Yeah. 100%. Let's remember the established Democrats at the keepers of the gate, the Pelosi's and the Schumers. They're the worst ones because they won't give it to you either.
No, they won't give it to you.
They're the ones who are, you know what I'm saying? And like I said before, fam, we need to get rid of the speaker. Nancy Pelosi has to go. We'll be talking to Shahid Buttar hopefully soon. I'm talking with his peeps. We could talk a little the Patriot Act, the renewal of it, which is really disgusting. A lot of Democrats joined ranks. There were more Democrats that voted for it in the House than Republicans. For the renewal. Just keep that in mind.
That's not surprising.
Johnny, we talked about Donald Trump and his hair. I think we should go to Gavin Newsom because.
Hold on, real quick.
Yeah.
Last thing is that.
He's got one more. I'm sorry.
The administration has also taken action to suspend.
It froze.
What was he saying?
They suspend students' loans for I don't know how long.
Yeah. So the problem with that is.
You checked on that though too, right?
And thank you, Mr. President.
Has also taken action to suspend federal student loan payments. So we're suspending, and that means suspending in every sense of the word, student loan payments so that the students that are not able to take advantage of what's going on, obviously, for obvious reasons, they will be the payments suspended. We've temporarily stopped federal evictions and foreclosures. We've postponed tax day until July, which is a big thing, first time that's happened, and waived regulations to speed new treatments to the market. And we have new treatments coming on rapidly. We're doing very well, we think, with vaccines, and we're doing.
No, I was just gonna say suspending student loan payments doesn't mean you're forgiving them.
No.
Eventually, you're gonna have to pay those back, and as soon as they can, they're gonna start saying, "Give us our money," and that's a problem. I mean, it helps a little bit, but really, it's kind of just like pushing back your rent payment. Like you're still gonna have to pay it, and then it's gonna be backtracked, and you're gonna owe so much more. And so the problem with that is we need to have. If I were president, we would have completely loan forgiveness, at least a portion of it right now because of the crisis, because you're never going to get back on track. And also for the rents, it would just be completely suspended for 2 months, and then you would just start as if you had paid the last 2 months. That's what we really need, because you need to boost the economy. You need to get cash back in the hands of the American people, but that's only a Band-Aid fix, because it's the money that you owe is still going to be there. Yeah. It's not going to be enough.
And that's what the system is kind of like set up to do. That's what these bailouts are set up to do. In 2008, all you have to do is look back. You know what I'm saying? They gave you a little temporary time to catch your breath, but then when you started catching your breath, they did what they did to Graham Elwood. Said, "Oh no, you're delinquent. You're behind."
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Throw you out of your house. There were millions of people who were thrown out of their house, and the banks who got all that money didn't have to pay a goddamn fine. Nobody went to jail. They got off scot-free. In fact, they were bigger than when they started, and everybody else lost their houses. So we can't be myopic about it, and that's why I have very little faith right now, because we don't have the government in place to really go in there. We don't have the progressive movement in there to really do a purge of the rules and the laws and change things. Even Ilhan Omar sucked when it came to this friggin' bill. But I was saying thank you very much to the 5 people over on ROKFIN, and thank you for the Super Chat contributions over on the YouTube. We have 150 people there. We got 5 people on the ROKFIN, so if you can go over to the ROKFIN.
If you're a premium member on ROKFIN, go over to ROKFIN.
If you're premium.
If you watch it, and make sure you press the like button so then we get some support from that.
Absolutely. You can use the app too as well if you have an iPhone over there. Just go over to the ROKFIN, endorse if you can too as well. If you're we get that check coming. So we'll see how it goes. Fam, we were talking about somebody with good hair. That's Donald Trump. Somebody who's got better hair, I think. Gavin Newsom.
Oh, God.
Johnny Newsom, what do you got?
Yeah, we're just going to run through this video again, and I got all the best parts out of it. So,
15 positive cases that are impacting not only the state but the rest of our nation. 26% increase yesterday in the number of new patients with COVID-19. We now are seeing a spike that we were anticipating, that we were modeling, but that we were substantively preparing for. Part of that preparation is exampled with the ship you see behind me. The capacity of up to 1,000 beds within that ship at the peak consideration, about 550 at the lower end, and we could talk more about the operation and any questions that people may have. It's just one of many assets that we're already pre-positioning throughout the state of California. We now have identified 4 sites for the medical field stations. We are the beneficiary of 8 of those sites, 2,000 rooms, because of the support of the administration. Those sites are going up. 2 of them will be operational within the next few days. We are pleased to have procured hundreds and hundreds of hospital beds throughout the state of California. Seton in Northern California now is operational. St. Vincent down here in Southern California, we have procured the asset. Now we're working to get the resources, the personal protective gear, and the staffing to make that fully operational.
So, yeah, I just wanted to emphasize there that he says that there's going to be 8 medical sites and that 2 are opening up next week or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go see those medical sites.
And I think you also, this is where the language comes into play, Johnny, like they're anticipating a meteor coming of sorts. It's like, here it's coming, so we're beefing up. So how bad is it going to get, fam?
I don't know, because this whole time they were really like, whatever, it's not going to be a big deal. And the fact that they're all of a sudden saying it is actually kind of worrisome, because I believe that both the CDC, the doctors, and the government are actually kind of have been underplaying how bad it's going to be. Because the CDC numbers that are reported for the people who have coronavirus are much, much lower than the actuality, because they're not giving tests to everybody who has the symptoms. And I know so many people that have the symptoms that are like, oh, I tried to get a test, but I couldn't do it. So they just want me to quarantine. And most of these people are okay, but there are some that aren't. And there are more and more younger people dying of this. I mean, we had it in the infant in Illinois who died from it. Then there was the 17-year-olds, 24-year-olds. There's really young, healthy people getting this. So I think they're actually underplaying, which is what I would do. Like, I wouldn't personally do it, but is what the CDC and the government will do. They don't want people to panic. So they're trying to kind of keep some sort of poise. But now it's like, oh, by the way, yeah, this is going to be kind of big.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how I feel about it.
It's like they tried all the small measures a couple weeks ago, tell us to quarantine. So that got caught up with us. Because here's the thing, too, fam. Within this particular relief bill, there are a lot of people who are going to be left out in the cold. We addressed this a week and a half ago. What Rashida Tlaib was trying to do was get money into illegal immigrants or undocumented worker. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. I like to say undocumented workers. But so everybody understands out there, people who are not in the system, okay, don't have a Social Security card, Social Security number yet. They might be working here or even if they're here undocumented and working, they're still part of our society. Yeah. Only 3 members of Congress on the Democratic side mentioned that they will be left out in cold on that speech. I was looking for that too as well. 3 members of Congress. And they got to go out and they got to still work. We still we hear the elote man out there. We hear the ice cream truck out there. They're still going out there. They can't practice social distancing because they're not going to get the help.
They're not going to get anything
to let them survive. So that's why, even though for the people who are against undocumented workers, whatever, we got to take care of them right now, because if we're going to be serious about getting this pandemic under control, we got to take care of everybody in the process.
Yeah.
Because they are us right now. Because if this thing is for real, they can affect us. So if we don't give them the financial support to put food on the table and take care of their children, it's going to come back and haunt us. And that's why this bill was also poo-poo.
Just really quick, apart from undocumented immigrants, there's also college students who aren't really going to get anything. They're too old to be counted as younger children.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily working, so they're not going to get anything back.
No unemployment, and they're not eligible for the check, right?
Yeah, exactly. Unless they're working and like are dependent.
Because their parents,
right. Their parents can claim them. But apart from that, of course, are the homeless population. They're not getting anything.
They can't be claimed if they're over 18 also.
Yeah. That's true. So the parents don't get a benefit. They just get to help them out, but they receive no benefit out of it. Yeah. So,
all right. So the next one is
you see his hair? Look at his hair. Look at Newsom's hair. Look at that hair.
This is Mayor Garcetti.
I also want to thank the governor for why the ship is here, and I'm going to get to the ship in a moment. But I know the conversations he had directly with our president and vice president is why we have today a ship that now will be the largest hospital in Los Angeles at its full capacity. And at its capacity today, we'll add 1/3 more available beds, and at full capacity, 2/3 more beds to the fight here in Los Angeles. You know, we're used to having the Navy here in this port, America's port.
Okay, so he said that it will be the largest hospital in LA now. The other thing, next thing, I'm just going to kind of roll through these. Now they answer questions from the press, which I wish we were there. I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
But
The first question.
The 16th of this round evictions in the state of California around renter protections. Many know that a couple of days ago we announced a deal with 4 of the 5 largest national banks in America around mortgage relief, forbearance of payments for at least 90 days. A few weeks prior, we had put out guidelines for cities large and small and creating a legal framework where they could put moratorium together related to evictions for rentals, for tenants. Los Angeles has been a leader in this space, San Francisco, San Jose, 30 jurisdictions had moved already or moved now more aggressively to establish a framework, but only 30. And as a consequence of that, today we just established a new overlay for the state of California that denies the capacity of enforcement, court proceedings for any evictions through May 31st. So for tenants, through May 31st, there will be no eviction proceedings. There'll be no enforcement as it relates to your inability to pay for COVID-19. It does not preempt any local ordinances that go deeper or farther, but it is an overlay for the entire state of California.
Okay, I have something to say about that.
Go ahead.
Okay, so actually, he is sugarcoating everything.
He is sugarcoating.
Absolutely. He's patting himself on the back. That's not necessarily true. This is from my people who work on the tenants union, people who work on evictions. The eviction order still allows landlords to file and serve evictions even today and does little to nothing to actually protect the tenants. Governor Newsom's executive order is not a ban on evictions, contrary to the governor's own press release. It does not prohibit landlords from evicting tenants. All it does is extend the amount of time tenants have to respond to their own eviction order, and only under the circumstance where the tenant no more than 7 days after the rent comes due notice to their landlord that they would not be able to pay for COVID-related reasons. It's outrageously misleading, and the governor is failing to protect tenants. Apart from that, housing attorneys are saying this order cannot be used as a defense against an unlawful detainer. It needs to be strengthened. Otherwise, it's useless. So,
wow. Yeah, no, that's so misleading because I hear that and I'm like, okay, so we're good. So May, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
The whole thing is that it's going to be a backlog. In other words, they're going to come back and say, hey, the money you owed us that we gave you the time to pay it, you got to pay now. Well, wait, I can't pay that now. I can barely pay what's in front of me. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, then you're going to have to get out of your house. We're going to take your house over. And we have the assets now to consolidate and buy all these houses. Like I said, anybody from $65,000 to $125,000, the calculator's not going to work out in their benefit when it comes to finances. So they might be in trouble, and they're going to do the same. They're going to use the same tactics they used on Graham Elwood, the way they got his house. They tried to do it on Unge. Unge was very lucky to beat the case. He said he was at one point it was a coin toss, Johnny. He might lose the house. He might keep the house. He got very fortunate and found a loophole and found a way to keep the house because they screwed up in their steps. But that's not what happened for everybody, fam. People got evicted last time. And what he's doing is sugarcoating it right now more than anything. You know what I'm saying? Now the courts are closed. There's going to be a lot of hard times to get a court case right now to really evict somebody, but 3 months when everything's back working, they're gonna go back for that money that you owe, even the money that they give you in the stimulus.
That's why
it's taxed. It goes on your taxes.
That's why you need complete suspension of the rent.
Exactly, a freeze, 90 days pause, 3 months,
and then you
freeze.
just start back up once.
There you go.
Yeah.
If it's really a pandemic that's so awful, then give us the tools to make it through this together as Americans. Sugarcoating. The whole freaking floor did that.
So don't listen to Newsom. He's a neoliberal.
Did you see his hair, though? His hair's like tested in hurricane winds.
Okay, so...
Johnny doesn't care about the hair.
No.
Neither do I.
And I think while we've been here, the county may have put out new numbers. I know Dr. Galley is here from the county. Yesterday's increase, though, of over 50% would, of course, have a doubling rate of less than 2 days. By that measure, we would be where New York City is in number of cases per capita in Los Angeles County 6 days from now, or 5 days from now, 6 days from yesterday. We would be in a slower rate of increase the day before in 12 days where New York City was. So whether it's 1 week or 2 weeks, as I've been sharing, we will be where they are. We will have doctors making excruciating decisions. We'll be trying to figure out what we do with that surge, how to get ventilators, where to find beds, which is why it's such a great day, at least today, to know that the USNS Mercy is here.
So yeah, That's the language I was talking about. That they said they're gonna be there in 6 days or a week or 2 weeks. We're gonna be where New York is. So
yeah. So I was looking at the chat as that was going on.
Okay. Next thing was that he said he's gonna use force to shut down businesses.
Thank you, Governor. First and foremost, with the beaches, I was glad to see the guidance come out from the county today in the order. It's something we will do on the one beach that we run in Venice Beach, and down here, actually 2 beaches, excuse me, in Cabrillo Beach. We will make sure that that is the law and that that is enforced. When I'm asked this a lot, I say, look, we've got an A in terms of compliance. If you look at the data, California, Los Angeles, in terms of the restriction of movement. 2, there's a lot of self-enforcement going on. My executive officer, an employee of mine, when she left her apartment today, had 2 people say, "What are you doing? Why are you leaving?" She said, "I work for the mayor." They said, "Oh, great, good, okay, you go." So there's a lot of that happening at the neighborhood level. 3rd, we use first and foremost our city employees, including our officers, to try to get adherence in a voluntary way, and that's the best way to move forward. We had one restaurant that tried to stay open, giving food to folks the first day. We visited them with a police officer. That's over, and it hasn't reopened in terms of food service inside since. In those rare cases where we need enforcement, we're absolutely prepared, whether that's shutting somebody's power off at a business that shouldn't be open, or whether it's giving somebody a citation. In fact, we even found price gouging. Our LAPD officers found somebody selling hand sanitizer for $80. Let them know that that was illegal, and let them know that there's a criminal penalty. That hand sanitizer is now being sold for $7, or was sold for $7. So where we see that, we are prepared, but 99.99% of this can be done without any criminal penalty. But we're prepared if anybody is an outlier, because one person can be a super spreader. One person can kill someone. One person can kill themselves.
Yeah, I just like to say, like, I wish he had as much heart for the freaking the medical companies that are gouging us on prices when it comes for people who they need their insulin and all that shit, as he does for somebody trying to make a few bucks on the. Now, don't get me wrong, selling hand sanitizer and stuff like that
isn't in charge of that.
Yeah, so. But you can be passionate about that stuff. You could talk about that. You can call out the speaker for shelving. If you really hate the speaker, the rumor is, you should be calling him out and saying, look what they're doing. We're getting killed in our medical expenses over here. But you want to call out the schmuck on the side of the street who's selling hand sanitizer, you know?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Please.
Both are bad.
By the way, we had 7 people watching on our ROKFIN Premium. Thank you so much. We love you. Go over there and do that. Johnny?
Okay, a couple more things. And we're just showing these to show you what what the California governor is saying. You know, this is like a elected official. This is what an elected official is saying. So, same thing with Trump. Same thing with everybody. So, right here, they kind of get into the politics of it.
This is time for partnership, not partisanship. As I said, open hand, not a clenched fist. He's our president, and every direct request that I've asked the President of the United States, he has been responsive and he has tried to accommodate. This is just one of many examples. Those 8 field stations, 2,000 units in the state of California, 2 that will be up and running next week. The Mercy are just examples specifically of that collaboration and that cooperative spirit. When it comes to emergencies, wildfires, disasters, we've always maintained those two-way conversation, that engagement, and we'll rise above the politics, and I'm grateful for that, and I'm candidly grateful for his leadership for the state of California and the issues and needs that we have requested and desires that have been met so far. And I'll keep monitoring that and keep.
I mean, he's just doing protocol. I mean, I don't really feel it's anything different than what he should be saying. I just think we're still underprepared, to be honest. I think still, I see a lot of people still going out socially. Not as much here as in other states, but I mean, I genuinely think like even what they're doing is kind of like reactive. It's not proactive. Yeah, like we should have been proactive from the start.
My mind starts wondering and starts thinking about, okay, like if a really serious pandemic, right? We got to get it under control. So we got to force people or say you can't go out and work and stuff like that. But at the same time, my mind keeps going back to what about the people who are going to be screwed, who really need the money for resources and have to do these things?
Right.
And we're taking away their right to do that and try to save themselves. save their property, save
If
their
you really
family.
wanted people to stay in, you would provide them the necessary tools
to stay in.
Yeah.
And that's to everybody, fam, especially in California.
Yeah, and you would pay the essential workers hazardous pay, which is not what is happening right now with these independent private corporations.
Are we gonna hear Garcetti speak Italian or Spanish?
Last two things is this is about the homelessness.
Oh, here.
Let me just say on the issue of homelessness, we have already procured as of this morning 4,666 hotel units that we are distributing throughout the state of California for prioritization at the county level for homeless individuals. We have just in Los Angeles, leadership of Mayor Garcetti in the county, they have identified that they are prepared to take 637 trailers that we were able to procure because of leadership of Bob Fenton and Mark Gilladucci, and they're prepping those sites and preparing the resources that will be needed on site to meet that demand. So all of that's dynamic, all of that's happening in real time, and as you know, we distributed $100 million in emergency aid because of the leadership of Tony Atkins and Anthony Rendon and their colleagues in the Senate and the Assembly, and we distributed those dollars in emergency grants for homeless individuals to prioritize getting people off the streets, particularly seniors and those in encampments and those that are vulnerable disproportionately to COVID.
They're all vulnerable. They're all vulnerable. Here's the thing. We have at least, and this is only counting the people that are homeless, not the people that live in friend-to-friend homes, or not the people that live in their cars. 65,000 homeless people in Los Angeles County alone. Yeah. So 6,000 beds or however, like, that's just not enough. Yeah. It's not. How many hotel rooms are you going to need? You're going to need a lot of hotel rooms. And guess what they should be doing is taking all the real estate that's empty and somebody owns it. They should take that, and this is a very socialist thing to do, but pretty much just start housing the homeless in these things. I mean, hotels are fine, but you're not going to have enough hotels. You're not going to have enough places to put these people. And they said, oh, the first homeless person was infected a few days ago. They're probably majorly all infected, because if you think about it, people who are quarantining have a place to go and only interact with this X amount of people. People who are on the streets are completely vulnerable. They have zero sanitation. It's a mess. They're completely underselling what's actually happening out there when it comes to the homelessness crisis. A lot of my friends are out there risking their health, providing food to the homeless. Distributing food is one of the things they can do. They're building masks. They're also pretty much figuring out ways to now be the emergency responders, because they know that they don't have this together. As much as they're telling you that, oh yes, Rendon, and no, these people, 100 million for the crisis, none of that has really gone in to actually really help out the homeless. And I know, because I deal with this a lot, and like so do a lot of our friends, and it's really, really bad, and they need a lot of help.
Yeah. And how many people go homeless because they can't pay their medical bills, fam?
Exactly. So
like a lot.
A
right?
lot.
I mean, you were telling me about it one day with Mel.
Yeah.
That's a big part of the reason why. And to sit there and mention the leadership of Anthony Rendon when he shelved,
SB 562.
Exactly, which would like at least 25% of the people you have on the streets are probably there because of what Anthony Rendon's single action to shelve that bill has done to the people. And yet you want to mention his leadership?
Well, and not only that, Gavin Newsom's faux rent eviction thing, so many more people are going to become homeless now. So now you're just reacting to the problem. You're like running out of breath because you haven't addressed the big situation that people are going to be evicted, that people eventually aren't going to be able to pay their rent, and they're going to become homeless now. Yeah. So even if you curtail the spread of the pandemic for now, it's going to happen again as people lose their homes.
Yeah. And he almost mimicked what the country did. Oh, we didn't have any money for anything. How are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for it? And then I get this big stimulus bill. $500 billion is kicked to the freaking top corporations. And now we found the money for that.
And now they found the money to kind of help the homeless problem.
Here goes Gavin Newsom. Help. Now all of a sudden, now we find that money. You know what I'm saying? This should have been a national emergency from the get-go, fam. We've been talking about this for so fucking long. 60,000 homeless people on the fucking street.
Since we started the show.
And now they have the money. You can find the money when you need to find the money, right? Please. And you know, this guy's kind of got this like little, you know, the reason why he ain't freezing the 90 days for the rents and whatnot is because why?
He takes real estate money.
The people, he wants his investors, those real estate people. He's
All
got
of
a
them
lot of real estate guys who kick a lot of money to them.
All of them do. Kamala
Yes.
Harris,
Especially
Gavin
in this state.
Newsom, Garcetti.
Forget about it.
They all take developer money. Developer money is one of the biggest forms of money you can take in the state of California because our real estate is so expensive.
Yep, so only a certain class of type of people can buy all the houses. And if there's more distressed property for them to buy, we consolidate all the wealth up to
The worst
top.
part is that a
See
lot
that?
of these houses and a lot of these projects are empty. They're empty houses, $1 million homes or multi-million-dollar homes that sit empty there because foreigners are buying our property because they have money and we don't. And so that stays there and they're completely empty. Meanwhile, we have people on the streets. This is the juxtaposition of especially Los Angeles, but in general of the United States. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's capitalism for you.
Yep.
Okay, and then the last thing here
Hashtag socialism.
is
Crony capitalism.
my comment was this is how much money is California getting?
Making a determination exactly how much. We've got 1.7 billion of that stimulus kind of for higher education. There's new assessment coming for K through 14. As I said, it's $8.3 billion, 6.9 billion for local jurisdictions, 8.3 that come in directly in block grants to the state itself. We've got transit money, 3.75 billion. We've got homeless money, $320+ million that's set aside for California directly out of that stimulus for our homeless programs. So we're assessing all of that in real time. We put out a new guidelines for our state budget just 48 hours ago, and we are looking at every single expenditure in our state. And all I can say is we will be making adjustments in real time, not waiting for the obvious, which is recognizing that there's a significant economic impact not only to the state but individuals.
But yeah, that was basically all of it. And then now we can get into the weird footage. I don't know if you have a comment on that last one.
No.
More
More of the same
bullshit.
bullshit. I don't know. I am so like I said, my head is kind of spinning when it comes to this whole thing. You know, we've learned so much during this quarantine time. So much things have happened politically, and you know, I'm segueing into the music and stuff. But now that this quarantine stuff has happened, stuff has happened electorally, stuff has happened with our Congress, stuff has happened with our state, stuff has happened in our hospitals. But we have to talk
Johnny,
about the deep, darker, weird footage.
What are
The
we
other
watching?
day at night, hold on. The other day at night, we were outside. We heard some spinning. We
No, we weren't outside. We were in our living room.
We went outside.
And
Pasta thought we were crazy.
I thought I heard this helicopter.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God,
it's not the
no.
normal fucking helicopter.
It's not the normal helicopter.
Pasta thought it was a normal
No,
helicopter.
the guys, you have to set the scene. In our neighborhood, the helicopter's out all the time.
Yeah, but it did not sound like
I'm
it.
going to admit, I was busting your balls the other day. It didn't sound like the normal helicopter that's out there. We know that sound. We hear that sound. It was definitely a different helicopter.
Yep.
Johnny?
I put the Epstein music on because I wanted to show you. First of all, you got to hear it. Hold on, I'm gonna pause it. You got to hear it because I took a video when we were outside. So here's our video. We heard this. When was this? It was
2 days ago.
2 days ago, at like in the middle of the night. So it was the night of the 27th, but it was
3 days
technically the
ago.
28th.
Yeah,
It was technically the 28th.
I see.
You guys hear it? Oh,
You see
kind of hear it.
Look at it.
That's our helicopter.
Look, dude, that's round.
It's not a
It's
UFO.
like
I
round like
promise.
this, not round like this. And what I was saying is that it was not horizontal; it was a vertical round. So
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
and then I'm like late at night at like 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm looking through various hashtags on Twitter, and I find this.
Oh,
I find
Jesus.
this.
Thank you for everybody on the ROKFIN. Here it is.
Wait. What the fuck? It's not playing. See, this is Twitter. This is Deep State.
Oh, Jesus
Refresh
Christ.
it.
It's literally not playing.
But you can see them. They're like the drone style helicopters. Like
Very big and bulky.
they're
Vertical.
wide. They got propellers on each side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just scroll through it. It's the Ospreys. I looked up what kind of
The Ospreys?
look at that.
Yeah, what if they're for flying medical supplies?
Yeah, that's what I think. Marines usually typically use Ospreys. Here's another footage. Someone filmed hundreds of tanks going down the tracks near LA River. None of the videos are playing right now, but there you go. I've heard that this happens a lot from the comments I've seen.
Well, I mean, they got bases all over, so they're moving military equipment over here and over there. People gotta understand, every year there's new military equipment coming in. They don't have the area to store this stuff, so they sent them out, whatever. So, I mean, it's suspicious, yes, but...
it's not out of the ordinary.
The Ospreys, these ones are really weird.
Because they haven't been out here.
These have not been in the sky, like, ever, like in civilian. So, historically, they're the primary assault support aircraft for the U.S. Marine Corps. It was fielded to replace whatever. Since 2007, they started using them. I looked up. It looks like the U.S. Navy ordered some new ones in 2018, and they were being, what was it? They're supposed to be imported to the Navy, delivered by 2020. There it is. Delivery start in 2020. Right there.
Yeah.
And then one of the things that it says is that it range increases comes with extra fuel bladders. The only difference from other variants. What else was it? Where is it? The public address system. They added in the Wikipedia of it. It says that it incorporates an extended range fuel system, a high frequency radio for over the horizon communications, and a public address system to communicate with passengers. So they added a PA system, that's the only time they mention the PA system is this new U.S. Navy variant one. So what I wanted to see was this is the article that Wikipedia references. They added a PA system to it.
What does that mean?
I didn't know what public address system was, but it's a PA system. It's
a PA system is a system.
Yeah, why would they? But what for?
Use audio.
For what reason?
It looks like.
Ladies and gentlemen, please move out of that way. Choo-choo.
That's what.
So they can order shit from the air.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. So they were made in 2018. They got delivered 2020. So what I'm thinking is that they're from the new ship. Because the Twitter video.
Yeah, that new ship.
It was posted on the 27th.
What are the ships called again?
USNC Mercy is the one here in LA.
Mercy, and the other one is the
Comfort.
Comfort and Mercy. Damn, that's our nicknames.
So
I'm Comfort, you're Mercy.
I'm definitely not Mercy.
The other thing I wanted to say, a PA system is fucking public address system. Yeah. A loudspeaker.
Yeah.
Somebody said on the chat, Johnny, they can do just to intimidate us with all this new stuff to keep us in line. Fly it around.
It's weird. Like what?
Somebody
I don't think it's weird. Why do you guys think it's weird? I mean, this is the middle of a pandemic, and you need to. This is what the tools that they have to prepare for anything that happens.
Okay, but this is not this particular what I just looked at too as well. It's not for delivering medical supplies. It's not a big cargo, whatnot. It looks like it's a marine
it's for
vessel.
like crowd control.
It's crowd control.
No,
like you just said, that's
crowd control.
But in a crisis, you need to have those things available.
I think the logical, like if you really want to, the logical, latte liberal conclusion is that they're being used to transport materials and or patients to the ship. Is what I think.
I mean, that's also a possibility.
Is what I think.
Yeah.
I just
don't. Having a PA system.
It's interesting that it was it had a PA system.
It makes it more for other things too, like not just transporting, but obviously you can address people.
You two put that TV on the ground now. We will shoot you.
Yeah.
Loud, dude.
That's exactly what it's for, John. You
just don't kill our people's audibles.
We will shoot you.
So then the other thing I wanted to show is that this was an article from 3 days ago.
San Pedro.
That the U.S. ship landed, and then it says here, This is not an opportunity to take a selfie with the Mercy ship. So stay away, please. This is a serious matter. This is serious. This is not a test. The Port of Los Angeles is well prepared.
So you're going down.
They're telling people to not go there. Basically, is my whole point of showing this. They're telling people not to go there.
You're supposed to be quarantined.
Yeah, but I'm going. So
Johnny
just
quarantine.
don't get arrested because we don't have bail money for you.
Johnny quarantine. You can't get bail. You got to bail him out because we either give the. I don't know. We either have to bail him out because we can't wait for him to go to court.
No, we need to do the show.
Exactly. Well, maybe
Johnny
quarantine.
quarantine.
If we can't Johnny quarantine, maybe they keep him quarantined in Pasadena or something. Like, you just slip a computer into the cell and he can do our show from there. Jim Crittenden says, "Thank you. Hang in there. Thank you for the super chat contribution, Jim. It is always appreciated on the couch."
I'm going to change the way we do super chats, fam.
Well, you know what? That's my job.
I'm going to
Glory
veto it.
Jones loved the background music on the ROKFIN. So was Tony
Glory.
Watches Closely and Holly Horn. We want to thank you guys for going on to our ROKFIN premium exclusive. And if you can sign up an endorsement for just $9.99 a month, please do so today.
I want you guys' thoughts on why Trump is opening the door to call out former active service members for the coronavirus fight. It's kind of weird. He signed an executive order for last Friday, basically recalling former active duty military members to help with the response. And here's the actual executive order from the White House website. It's just interesting to me that all this is happening. I mean, this is
you want to know
this is going to go down like if you go back into the history. Oh yeah, the 2020s. Trump put an executive order to get the former service members out.
Maybe he wanted certain service members
when the hospitals are empty.
Well, maybe he wanted certain service members for
I don't
certain
think that's
techniques
you
that
can
have been
say
through,
that.
I mean, they've
I'm
been
gonna
through
go find
crises
out. I'm gonna go
before.
find out if
we don't know.
LA
We haven't
hospital,
even started here, though, is what I'm saying. We're not there yet.
They had footage in New York and in Ireland.
Consider your source. Alex Jones reportedly had footage
no,
of.
it wasn't Alex Jones. It was other people
Who sent
he
it to
got it
him.
from. Who he got it from on Twitter and everything else. It was on Twitter and everything.
Yeah, and
People saying this is a hoax are idiots. I mean, I'm sorry. There's bottom line. People are dying. Literally, people are dying. So whether this was man-made is totally, that's totally a possibility. But to say that this isn't real, it's not based on fact. That's just like your opinion on whatever thing you want to make up because people are actually dying.
The media is saying that the hospitals are full, and if you go to the hospital and it's not full, then what does that tell you? That the media is lying.
Of course, the media lies all the time. Nobody puts it past the media lying, but that doesn't
quarantine.
mean.
I like to
we've been quarantined. I want to go see, so I'm going to go see the Mercy ship, and I'm going to go to a couple hospitals.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing.
Jay Bird, I don't know what you want to hear.
As soon as I get off,
Johnny.
And
we're not
I'll be
there
there.
yet.
I'll be there in a week, and then we'll see how it is in a week.
Okay.
Jay Bird says, "Let me hear it, Pasta." I don't know what you want to hear, Jay Bird, but you're hearing it from me, Jay Bird. It's always appreciated on the couch.
All right.
Boom. Thank you for that super chat contribution, Robin Gibson. We're gonna have a special guest tomorrow. Robin should watch the show. Somebody you like, somebody you know. You'll see. I don't know, fams. Maybe when he's calling up other people who were involved in crises before that can handle it. So maybe he wanted executive order to get people who know what to do.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, I think the military right now is probably focused on more foreign affairs, and so they need actual task forces to be focused on COVID-19. So it makes sense that he's grabbing these people because a lot of people might not want to be involved in this. I mean, if I were a soldier that had family, etc., would I rather be in right now across, the country where there's really not too much danger going on, or would I rather be focused on the epicenter of this COVID-19, which is the United States at this point now? So he's to need people to do that because it is a very, very high risk type of job. So
yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Listen, if in fact we should be at the point where the hospitals should be overloaded because people should be going there to check whatnot. But like you said, they've deterred people to even go in and check. So I just want more information to see things. I'm more likely to think that this was a man-made virus. And fam, I didn't tell you.
I don't know about that. I don't know who made it or whatever.
Well, I'm more likely to believe that part, that it was made for biological warfare of sorts. And maybe it was, I don't know. But I can tell you this much.
Everyone's getting infected then.
The Congress's sentiment is to blame China. There was one guy who goes, I can't stand the fact that a disease that was created or not created, it was, what's the word when it happens, when it starts, when it's...
Created. I mean, I don't want to use
I
that
don't want
big
to say it was
word.
created. It came out of a disgusting village in Wuhan, China.
You know what? I'm gonna ask
Shit like
Sophia
that.
to go to a hospital for me, or go see the ICU beds or the ICU rooms, because I'm really interested.
I've
to
seen
see.
many videos of full ICU rooms in
We
New
should
York.
put them in the folder.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, the other thing is that I have actual footage of video, but here's another video. It says date was 3/27, location New York City subway, and if it is all real, well, look at this. Like, everyone is still in the sub.
Yeah, the subways here haven't stopped functioning. People
Crowded.
just aren't taking them.
What's today's date? Today is Friday. What's today's date? The 20. What's today's date? 27.
They
It's
haven't
five
banned
and
use of
change,
subways,
and
though.
this train is.
Why? How
my
could
God, we're all
they?
gonna
They're not
fucking
shutting
die.
down the whole city. This is
That's a pandemic. It's
We're
not
all
gonna
gonna
spread
fucking
like
die.
absolutely. This is
Wildfire.
exactly what I'm saying, though.
11
How long you
people are
waiting
alive.
for the train?
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time.
This guy.
Shut the hell up!
How long you guys were waiting for the train?
I got drugs.
Why is it packed like this?
So I just got to comment on that. They haven't shut down the subway. They haven't shut down the metro here. People are still riding it. Here in California, we don't rely on the metro as much. New York, that's all you rely on. Taxi cabs are going to be working a lot less. The streets are empty, but people still have to go to their jobs. And unfortunately, again, because the government isn't providing what they should be providing, some people are working when they shouldn't be working. Some people are not taking this seriously. They think it's a hoax, which is obviously a mistake. And then some people are just essential workers and they need to work. New York is a small island full of so many people in one small space. That is why you're seeing the numbers that you're seeing in New York. Unless you're going to shut down the entire city and demand people stay in their homes and literally have like pretty much martial law, a city like New York is going to be impossible to pretty much control. I mean, you have to consider the ramifications of either thing you choose to do.
Fam, I don't know what to believe completely, but I am going to take the precautions and stuff. And Sean Brock said on the super chat. By the way, we had 11 people watching on ROKFIN. That's awesome. Go on over if you can. And if you're a premium subscriber, please watch. Sean Brock says, and thank you for the super chat contribution, Sean Brock. It is always appreciated on the couch. What's the first thing you guys are going to loot when society crumbles? Well, let me just say this much. I do run the kitchen at the household. I'm the guy who's running the kitchen, but we got Johnny oversight. So Johnny is only letting us eat the fresh food now and keep the frozen food for a rainy day. So I don't know what I would loot, but probably canned goods.
I'm not looting anything. I mean, unless
if society gave in, what would be the first thing you would loot? You would go for?
Society crumbles.
Water?
That's why I said we're growing
Coffee?
potatoes. We're growing potatoes here. We're growing veggies.
Yeah, but now we got to fight off the clans to keep the potatoes right now. Now we just...
You guys
Exactly.
are...
Exactly.
Listen, we're not there at the potato point where you can start planting them, fam. Right now we're in the
Tina
looting
says
period.
we can plant potatoes
But
and they
no,
will
I'm
be
saying
fine.
in Sean Brock's world,
Scenario.
everything starts to crumble. We're at that stage. Before we can set up shop and start planting and using Danny Garcia's seeds, what's the first thing you get a hold of? It's got to be canned goods and water, right, Johnny?
Toilet paper.
So
Dude.
ridiculous. We don't need... I don't know.
Sean
We don't
Brock,
need to
I wish
resort
we
to
could
that.
You hit
answer
the
it
you
better.
hit the grocery store. I hit up the ammo store.
I mean, you obviously need food the most, but...
Yeah, there's a couple more super chats.
Luis Brooks. Thank you, Luis, for the super chat contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. I appreciate you all, but please stay at home. I work in a hospital on
Thank
the
you.
East Coast. My team is terrified of dying.
Thank you.
When you go out, you risk spreading the disease. ICU beds are not plentiful. Luis, I would love to send some pictures to us on the convocouch@gmail.com. We need more proof and evidence of what's going on. I am not doubting it, my idea.
Why we're asking for evidence? Why are you shaking your head? No?
Because there's plenty of people risking their life right now
where is
as
it?
doctors and nurses. What do you mean? She's just telling you right now.
That's one
word of
person.
mouth.
It's
one.
one. There's multiple
there's
videos
the
of
fake
people in New
news
York,
media.
nurses.
We shouldn't shake our heads and question anybody questioning the government.
Yeah.
We know this.
Well, you're not questioning you're questioning science. You're questioning reality now. So you have to have the facts to back it up.
They can twerk that. They can mess around with that.
Yeah,
You're
just asking for more proof.
What's
wrong with more
is
information?
conspiracy
Johnny
theory.
evidence.
What's wrong with more information?
This is
What's wrong with
conspiracy
asking
theory.
for more
Because
information?
there's plenty of information out there. You're
It
saying
was
that this
deify.
isn't...
It was not edify.
Oh, shut up, Johnny.
Lori Mountain Gal Pal, $5 super chat. Thank you for the super chat contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. Could you guys do a show on debunking the idea that the pandemic is because of 5G and not
Okay,
coronavirus?
so here's the other
Oh
thing.
my God.
I went through the Twitter sphere, and
Great,
there's
we're
all
the
these
conspiracy
videos.
theory channel now.
There's all these videos about these birds dying in Ireland. They're like right next to the fucking new 5G thing,
God.
and there's like 10 birds on the ground, and I'm like, what the fuck? That's not normal. And Tina's like, oh, it's
I
that
agree
happens.
with Tina.
Tina's like, that happens, and there's like 5 dead animals on the road. She's like, that happens.
agree
All right,
with
guys,
Tina.
there
I
hasn't
don't
been
know.
the proper testing for the 5G. We know this.
To dismiss it easily is to dismiss research.
Always question more. That's what it says on RT. That's what I do. I question more. Jim Crittenden says, all the soldiers are home with orders to stand by for the task. Jim Crittenden, thank you for that super chat contribution. It is always appreciated on this couch. Having a little fun with it today, fam, because it's coronavirus. Did I miss one? Where did I miss one? Oh, I got one more. One more. And Brogressive. Look at that name. BRO''Aggressive. Thank you for the super chat, Brogressive. It's always appreciated on the couch. Police and fire socialized. Why not healthcare? Great question. Great. I wish I had the answer. I want to say thank you to all those people who are on the ROKFIN. Jason Arts, I'm on. Thank you, Jason Arts. Glory Jones, we love you. I know you need this league, blood. You need this league. Tony watches closely. We love you. Where's Deep Space? He's usually over here. Holly Horn. You know, he's spreading his conspiracy theories over on our YouTube instead. Chank. Oh, hell. He's trying to get his name on something, I guess. Chank?
I don't know.
We haven't heard about Chank. We got to look into what's going on with Chank.
All right, so I showed you the subway video, and then here's a video in Florida of what they're doing.
Man, what the fuck? All right. What? Man, what? Not the white boy. Not the white. Oh, don't hit this shit. Please don't hit this shit, white boy.
That's
don't hit this car.
Pompano.
You goddamn jits. Man, what the fuck? All right. What? Man.
Y'all don't know about Pompano. Y'all don't know about Pompano.
Bam.
Y'all don't know about Pompano. Pompano goes hard, Johnny.
Pasta's
Pompano
from
goes hard.
where Trump is from, not from there. So
No, I'm from Boca, which is very safe too. There's a lot
very
of money and
elitist.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, and there's some like lower income areas of Boca. For the most part, Boca's like Long Island. It's really, really pricey and stuff. But right up the road, about 20 minutes away, is Pompano. There are some areas in Pompano which are really, really poor. There are areas in Pompano
Sounds like-
you don't want to make a wrong turn down that street, like Miami. Pompano's got, so Pompano does go hard. You know what I'm saying? So they got people out there who don't give a damn, who are just going to do whatever. That's who they are out there. But crazy.
Yeah, well, it's crazy that they're out here like that. They're not taking it seriously. Again, that's what I wanted to show. Again, with the subway, the New York sub, and everything like that.
Well, why would they? If people think it's a hoax, why would they take it seriously?
Yeah. Okay, so there is a petition. We, the American people, demand paper ballots in the November 2020 federal elections.
So what? What the hell is that? It's so myopic.
Leading experts have concluded that nearly every electronic voting machine in the USA is inherently vulnerable to outside hacking and insider manipulation of software that's not even subject to public inspection. So it's a petition to sign to get paper ballots. And if it reaches 100,000, they have to look at the petition. They have to.
Yeah,
It's a White
that's
House
the whole
petition.
thing. I hope it's not one of these things
And,
that they get it done, Johnny. And
Tim
they just stop there.
Canova
usually what
tweeted it, and
Yes.
a few people tweeted it.
But we understand it just can't be paper ballots. We have to make sure our auditing system there is on point. Our counting system there on point. When you have paper ballots and you have 11 days to mess with the paper ballots, you have plenty of times to destroy them, move them around, do whatever. So paper ballots is just one part of the equation.
It says the election be conducted with hand-marked paper ballots that are counted by hand in public by the people.
There you go. Okay, so
It's
this
not
is
just paper ballots.
It's not paper ballots.
You got to read the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the first time I just saw that. So they're also, within this whole thing, they're also talking about the auditing process or the counting process, which is another thing that's really important too as well. We got to talk about the chain of custody the whole way when these paper ballots are there. Remember, it's not just one thing, it's all things too. Because right there now, Johnny, the chain of custody, right? So now we are able to count them. We got paper ballots. We got to make sure the chain of custody is in order because we had 11 days for those things to go from one voting center to a satellite. And in between that process, if the chain of custody isn't in place, that's when they can fuck with it, right? Yep. We talked about the chain of custody a long time ago. 14 people on the ROKFIN. We love this. Holly Horn. Fam, say hi to Holly.
Hi, Holly.
We love Holly. Johnny?
Other thing is that there's been a lot of election changes. I found this graphic here. It says that New York moved it to June 23rd. Pennsylvania moved to June 2nd. West Virginia, anybody can request an absentee ballot. Hawaii, ballots must be returned by May 22nd. Wisconsin, court case being decided on Monday about in-person voting, so we got to check up on that.
That's today.
Ohio, all vote by mail by April 28th. Delaware moved to June 2nd. Rhode Island, Connecticut, all moved to June 2nd. Georgia moved to May 19th. Louisiana moved to June 20th. Yeah, they put
22nd into the yeah, I know.
Alaska, all vote by mail.
April 10th. All right.
So if you live in Alaska, now you know that you can. Does anyone live in Alaska?
Yeah, Sarah Palin.
Well, the problem with this is there's reportedly that Tom Perez is going to penalize states that have moved their primary past a certain date in June, which would include New York, and he would be taking away delegates, which would hurt, obviously, nobody else but Bernie Sanders. This gives Bernie Sanders more time, but again, Tom Perez and the DNC are trying to find ways around it. If that happens, get ready to actually protest, because as much as they are a private entity and a private company, that shouldn't be allowed when it's supposed to be a government by and for the people, right? And that is a perfect way to protest and just show that, if anything, will be very obvious that they can pretty much rig an election. I mean, if you didn't know it in 2016, where they said that they could absolutely do that, it's right in your face now, and I think it'll become even more obvious if they try to pull this out.
Last thing is that Jacinta, not an important piece of news in lieu of everything going on for certain. I ran in the 41st Assembly District for the Democratic Central Committee, DCC. The results were certified on Friday, and I got in. Two other Democrats in the 41st Assembly got in with me, Todd Jones and Susie Abgeman. How do you say her last name?
Abedijan.
Yeah. Here's to hoping we can make a tremendous change and party overrun. With corporate Democrats on the lowest rung of the ladder. So many Democrats are owned by corporations.
Yeah, they listen. All areas, all levels, the elites are going to try to get their hands on everything. If you didn't see what happened with Kashama Sawant, they spent millions of dollars on a city race. Okay, because they understand when you think globally, you act locally, right? So, you know, they're trying to get every single piece of hold of every piece of government they can from all the way down. They got infinite resources to do so. They have it.
Even with the progressives winning, like Melissa Michelson, Todd Jones, all these people that won, Betty Dumas, all these people that are activists and organizers in the community. There are about 30 of them. So it's still going to be tough, but at least they can, put up a fight. As far as I go, like, I'm really, really just ready to burn it down. And a lot of them are. At the very least, they're in there just to be a nuisance to the Democratic establishment. But I just don't think we have time to infiltrate the party. We've seen what happens when we infiltrate the party. We just saw AOC not back the progressive candidates. She only backed two of the progressive candidates. She didn't back Cori Bush this time around. We're seeing the capitulations begin. Vote blue no matter who. You need to vote for Joe Biden. It doesn't work, you guys. I this was the last time I was willing to try it. It does not work to go inside the Democratic Party and fix it, because what happens is they change you and you have to capitulate to them every single time. They don't change. They don't move left. It's done. We have to really go outside the party now.
All right.
So, yeah, I mean, so she said that the results were certified on Friday. I'm like, wait, what? So
yeah, they just recently counted.
So I had to go back and Let's take a look at the results. Let's take a look. So, presidential primary election. Here we go. Democrats, there was 1,326,000 Democratic
And
votes.
it was about less than 200,000 crossover. So 1.5 million votes.
So
Last time it was 1.35.
what's the population of LA or of LA?
Well,
There's
There's 5.5, almost 6 million registered voters.
Anyways, Bernie Sanders 581,000 votes,
In LA.
39.36%. Joe Biden 418,000
No
votes,
fucking way.
28.38% of the vote.
There's no way he got that in LA.
No.
There's no friggin' way.
There's no way. I mean, I walk by all over the place. I've been walking by here, Pasadena, a lot because
There's no way.
I see Bernie sign after Bernie sign after Bernie sign after Bernie sign after Bernie sign. I have yet to see a single Joe Biden sign. I saw an Amy Klobuchar sticker and a Pete Buttigieg sticker.
I've literally not seen a single Joe Biden sign.
But I have not seen a single Joe Biden sign.
And-
I mean, we know this, you guys. We knew they were going to do this. I mean, there's only so much we can do
Yeah.
if not enough people are really
there's only
paying
so
attention.
much we can do, and the leader of the fucking movement can do a lot.
Well, let me tell you something. There's more shenanigans going on, too, as well, when it comes to the images when it comes to L.A. And
Yeah.
I don't want to start talking about it right now. I have to unpack everything. Tomorrow we're going to get into election integrity. Special guest tomorrow. Yeah, it's beyond disgusting because as I was watching the debate, and it wasn't a debate, it was a cheerleading pat yourself on the ass session for these congressmen on the floor of the House. I was saying, how do we get rid of these people? And I just kept on thinking, our elections are so screwed. We're going to be stuck with this. They got us by the sweet and lows. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think you could put it together. Jason Hart says, use Gorilla Caulk glue to stuff that hole. Thank you, Jason Arts, over on the ROKFIN.
What is he talking about?
He says somebody had a hole. Use the Gorilla Caulk glue to stuff the hole.
So
I don't know what you're talking about.
yesterday we talked about it. That Councilmember Ryu reintroduced the
David
rent
Rue.
freeze, or David Rue.
Yeah.
Shame on Rue.
But they just canceled it. They canceled the vote for Tuesday. Let's see. The Future Left, which is our friend. Let me see. Whoops.
Tony says it was for his radiator, by the way. The glue, the caulk.
They had a meeting Friday, and then they were going to do a vote Tuesday, but they canceled it.
I reached out to David Rue. Maybe I should reach out again.
Yeah, so basically we're asking people to call the LA County Board of Supervisors so that they can take care of us during this pandemic.
Yeah.
They're not
Call up
going
Mark
to.
Ridley Thomas and tell him, fam.
They're not going to.
Call up Mark Ridley.
They're not going to. And the governor has the power to actually do something instead of he fucking posted some BS eviction ban, which isn't even true. So misinforming people, making them feel like they're going to be taken care of. Really, that's not the case.
And the Board of Supervisors, fam.
Board of Soups.
You did it the other day. Fam she had to wait 9 hours to speak 1 minute. I waited 6 hours and took off to come do the show to speak 1 minute. And that's what they do. The whole thing is the elites, they just suppress, information. They suppress discussion.
They make you jump through hoops.
It is. Like, literally, that whole thing on the floor, AOC had to wait 2 hours to go 1 minute and blast people, and then she was shunned off and shut the hell up. So
And
even
she's
on
a
that level, they do
congresswoman.
it. Yeah, she's a Congress. Even on that level, they suppress political discourse. It's terrible. Johnny, what else? Rent strike.
You mentioned that there was a
I signed.
rent strike, or what is it? A petition?
It's a petition for a rent strike. Rent freeze, rent strike. Steph Zambrano, she put it out there. How many people we got?
2,130
That's not enough.
to get the 2,500.
She just started it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So
Good. We need to spread that around because that's
Nothing's
not.
ever good.
Unfortunately, it's just those things don't really get off the ground enough.
by the way, Glory said, F the Board of Soups.
Yeah.
She was there
right?
too.
Glory waited. She
You know, I'd like to do a show with Glory and Tess and Firepuff again, those three guys, asking them what at such a young age drives them to do that? Because seeing Glory do
How
that.
stupid everybody who's older than them
I know,
are.
but we can't just say that.
But
we
it's true.
But we can't just say that because, we saw those dumb fucking kids going, it's spring break. I'm going to party. Meanwhile, they're partying. Glory sitting in a chambers with you for hours.
Yeah.
And she's like younger than those kids. And I'm like, Glory, why do you do this? What? Because at her age, I was hanging out in a pool hall, betting on football games and playing 9-ball. Smoking weed.
We all know that, fam. But it's also like what she's very rare. She's very rare because unfortunately what society does to the younger people is we make them focus on everything else, like on every sort of distraction of social media, Instagram, all of these other things that they're focused on. I mean, you do a makeup tutorial and it gets like 1 million views, and and that's deemed more worthy. And Instagram people, it's just that's what we have lured kids to focus on because we don't want them to see this. Glory is one of the few people that see it. There's also the truth that a lot of the kids who do see that, my sister's 17, they know that this whole system's corrupt, but they're like, well, what's the point? Like, it's so corrupt.
Yeah.
No, but nothing's going to change.
I think they program the young people to say, hey, listen, you are judged in life by what personal property you own.
Yeah.
Your life, it should be about what personal satisfaction you have. So, yeah, let's go out and have fun. Let's get drunk. Let's get,
Let's just
have a
be
wild time, get laid, do whatever we got to do. And that's
Yeah.
the main thing that's the main goal in life.
Yeah.
Just to seek personal pleasure and personal property.
The problem is it's now
sucks.
the reasons like there's people like Greta Thunberg is because they are going to be directly affected. Their future is going to be directly impacted by what we don't do now.
Oh.
So I think that forces them to actually be like, okay, maybe I should start paying
Let me
attention.
say this much. Glory, you're my Greta. You're my Greta, Glory, and I love you. You're way more nuanced than Greta.
Greta versus Glory.
Greta versus Glory on the next Convo Couch Insider.
Call Graham and Ron. And
Is it
Granny
Jason
Petrol.
V or Jason the Fifth? Johnny, I sent you a Twitter DM. Look at Fort Detrick, August/19th. Shine the light. I love that name. Shine the light. Thank you for the super chat contribution. It is always appreciated on this couch. Fam, join in any time of the fun. Johnny, please research Center for Health Security. October's event in 201. Is that 201 or is it supposed to be 2010? Who knows? And we are in a live exercise now. Comment by Pompeo on the 20th. We are in a live exercise now. October's event 201.
I think
so.
That's,
This event 201 was a conference held by Bill Gates and somebody else, something like that.
Bill Gates said that this is going to be another 3 to 4 weeks and it's going to get worse. That's what Bill Gates said.
I don't know. Do you trust Bill Gates? I don't know.
I don't trust any of these people, but the fact is if they're getting their information...
There's a lot of weird information out there. That's all I'm saying. That, and we just got to swim our way through it.
There's no reason to think anybody's crazy for looking into stuff to just want more information. I think at the end of the day, we don't trust our government on anything, fam. So why should we trust them 100%?
We're not. It's not the government though. It's reality. People are getting sick, and to say that people aren't getting sick, that this is a hoax, is irresponsible.
Who said that?
When people are dying, you're to suggest it. I think I don't want to be
on
on this
want
channel suggesting any of that stuff because I don't stand by that.
I didn't say that at all during the stream.
Yeah, all we want is more information. We want to see
I disagree. I think that was suggested on this channel, and I don't.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was.
Okay, well, I disagree. So
that's your problem.
Okay.
Stop, guys. All right, so Johnny, anything else?
Yeah. So I think I told you the minutes. They're having a strike. They're essential workers, and they're not getting paid nearly enough. And this guy just goes on to talk about how they're not getting masks, they're not getting gloves, and Amazon is saying that they are. So let's just hear what he has to say.
Let her work the entire week. I came in Tuesday morning after taking a hiatus. Came in and sent her home because she looked sick. The following day, she tested positive for the coronavirus. The following day. They didn't let my people know. My people still in there working. Guess who they quarantined? Me. I only been around her for 5 minutes. I sent her home. You got people that been around her for 10 hours. They still working in there. It's blood money. They only want to keep the operation going. They quarantined me on Saturday. They ain't quarantined me on Tuesday or Wednesday when she tested positive. Her results didn't come back into the building until Thursday. I came every single day this week. What that tell you? They trying to cut off the head of the snake.
How many people are in there, do you think, are going against you? Do you have any idea?
That wasn't all I wanted to hear from that, but
The whole entire building. The way the coronavirus came into the building, it came in through the docks, the receiving end. That was the first case. The second case was my co-worker. That's the pick department. That's the department I run. The third case was a pack department. That's on the way out the door. That's the whole building. Receiving, stowing, picking, and packing. That's the whole entire building.
Now, you don't have a mask?
No, we don't have no masks. I have to wear scarves. We don't got no masks. They don't provide us with masks. They say they do, they don't. We don't have the right type of gloves. We don't have latex gloves. We're not in the medical field. They're sugarcoating everything. They're downplaying everything. Somebody needs to be held accountable. They need to take care of their people. We're going to bring the virus to the community. We're not essential. Our help is essential. And if we're not healthy and we're bringing the virus home to the community, what good are we doing? There's over 5,000 employees that come in and out this building weekly. Do the math. This virus spread to 2.5 people. Do the math. That's the epic center right there. New York State, New Jersey, 5 boroughs come to this building. 5 boroughs. They take that 40 bus. They take that subway. We don't know where these people coming from. They're hiring every day. 40 people a day. We don't know who's diagnosed or not. It's too late. It's too late. They can't do nothing to stop it. What they should have did.
okay, so as you can see, they're not taking the necessary precautions. Amazon has all the money in the world to be able to provide masks, or at least even manufacture them, and provide every necessary protocol, and they're not doing it. And these people are striking because they're not, I mean, they don't want to be spreading this disease. And as another doctor mentioned, that the virus can live on the package for 7 to 8 hours on the boxes. So again, this is why people were urging residents receiving these boxes to pick up the box with gloves, because these people aren't necessarily not being sanitized. They're not being given anything. And this is the epicenter right now. Like he mentioned, this is New York, and they're not at all taking any sort of precaution. And on top of that, they're not paying them enough to do this work.
And they're getting once again, that the bailout hand me money. You know what I'm saying? Once again, Amazon, Walmart, Boeing, these companies shouldn't get a fucking dime, because look what they do. They take the money, they enrich themselves, and they don't give a shit about their employees.
No, they don't.
This is the pandemic. In the middle of this whole fucking thing, the guy's got a bandana on because they're not providing. There's no gloves, no nothing. That's why I said that there should be no more corporate bailouts. They shouldn't get a goddamn dime.
They're going to under the oligarchy, though.
They will. Proof Anthrax sent us a super sticker. It's a hippo going, cool. What's a super sticker, fam?
I have no idea.
Well, we got one from Proof Anthrax.
And then last thing to...
Jason V said V.
What are you saying?
Jason said it's V, like V for victory. Good movie.
Okay, cool. Last thing is that once more, let me remind you what fascism is. I need not wear a brown or green shirt. Fascism begins the moment a ruling class, fearing the people may use their political democracy to gain economic democracy, begins to destroy political democracy in order to retain its power of exploitation and special privilege. Tommy Douglas.
That's the whole thing. That's why we're questioning everything. That's the only reason.
Well, fascism is already in play right now as we speak.
Do you guys still think this is the democracy that we're living in?
No, I never did. I thought I've been saying we've been living in a fascist
country.
We
should call that out. We should call it out every day.
We do.
Fam, we are living in a fascist country. You can't speak against the state. They suppress our voices. That's why I'm so much on our civil liberties. Okay? You know what I'm saying? The state owns mostly everything. Look at when there's a bailout, socialism, it goes for the rich. It's a fascist country because, once again, all the big corporations are controlling everything. They control our government, and they just handed them all our friggin' money so they can grab more assets. We are as fascist as can be, and they don't let you speak out. So I'm glad we speak out.
And it's only going to get worse, because if the right, the Republicans, are the ones providing all the solution to all the problems, people are going to go flood to the right. And again, I can't stress this enough. This is what happened during World War II, when Hitler took over, when people were really vulnerable. This is like the perfect moment for fascism to take over. However, it's also the perfect moment for the other side to take over, for the people to rise and actually have a revolution. So it's either going to go one way or the other. And that's to be determined by people who are going to actually stand up and say, we're not going to take this anymore. We're going to fight against this. And it's honestly the will of the people. It's not going to happen from one politician. Never. So.
Yes. And please, no mom jokes on the chat, guys. We don't do that. We don't bring our moms to this stuff. So if you want to talk stuff, keep it cool. No mom stuff. I'm an Italian boy from New York. We don't go there. Johnny, anything else? Fiorella, anything else? Well, guys, thank you very much for joining the Convo Couch. We'll be back tomorrow with some special guests talking election integrity. There's a lot to unpack over there. We're also going to have Shahid Buttar down the road talk with us.
We're having a special premium Wednesday live stream.
On ROKFIN only.
On ROKFIN only.
ROKFIN only. So join up, sign up.
Premium. You
premium
can watch
if you
it.
can. And we'll go from there. It's going to be a fun show. So for Pasta Jardula,
Fiorella,
Jonny Tsunami on the ones and twos.
Peace.
come out. Bye.